Welcome to my course, Maximizing Child Safety at Child Care Centers. The purpose of this course is to provide recreation leaders with the skills and knowledge necessary to effectively supervise groups of children and ensure their safety in an after-school care program. The number one priority of any care program for children is maintaining their safety. But it's challenging because children are unpredictable. So after observing our recreation leaders, we realized there was a need for this training. So recreation leaders play a crucial role in ensuring the safety of children at these programs. And to prevent potential dangers, rec leaders need to be proactive and effectively supervise children, and they need to be able to identify and mitigate potential hazards. They also have to be confident in communicating with children and intervening immediately in potentially hazardous situations. So in order to improve their skills in these areas, rec leaders need training in behavior management and communication strategies, and they should participate in scenarios where they can practice anticipating behaviors and learn how to build meaningful relationships with children. So by addressing these issues, rec leaders can better ensure the safety of children at child care centers. So I'm going to jump over to my instructional design portfolio here just to give you a little bit more information about this course. So the type of course, this is going to be a 4-module comprehensive course, and it has video lectures, readings, and other interactive activities to engage our rec leaders and to help them develop these necessary skills. It's going to be structured so that they can practice and assess their understanding of the material, and it includes some self-evaluations. My target audience is childcare providers, mainly our rec leaders, which are high school and college students, and they work with medium to large groups of school-age children. Our learner profile is people who enjoy working with children, and they might have some previous experience working with children, such as nannying, babysitting, but that experience is limited because they probably haven't managed and worked with large groups of children. Usually one rec leader is assigned to 18 groups of kids, and then altogether, a center could have up to 60 to 70 children. So after observing our rec leaders, we realized that they weren't effectively supervising children because they don't understand why it's important to supervise children. They also overlook certain environmental hazards, or they are even unable to identify that something could be an environmental hazard. They're also not confident enough to communicate with children, and they do not have a behavior management plan in place that they stick to and are able to, intervene with, intervene when children are engaging in dangerous situations. So jumping back to the instructional design document, by the end of the course, we want our learners to be able to understand and implement key components of active supervision, managing behaviors, and controlling the environment in child care centers. From here, we broke down that into 4 other learning objectives that are measurable. Learners will be able to put into effect strategies and knowledge that promote effective active supervision in all areas used by the child care program. Learners will be able to identify and mitigate threats to child safety, which will include but not be limited to environmental hazards and inappropriate behaviors. Learners will be able to establish and employ developmentally appropriate guidelines, consequences, and positive and negative reinforcements for behavior. And number 4, learners will be able to anticipate child behavior and select the best course of action to intervene effectively and swiftly. So because we want our learners to demonstrate an understanding of the basics of active supervision, the course does provide some basic information regarding active supervision, and then it has some knowledge checks and some activities. So one of the activities being that the learners have to create a list of how do I actively supervise? And then after that, I think the most important instructional strategy here is the self-evaluation that learners would have to complete and really look and see, hey, am I actually following protocols for actively supervising children? So Module 2 is all about indoor environmental hazards, and for this one I did create an interactive module in RISE 360, and I really like this interactive picture that we have here, and you can click on all sorts of hazards and learn about them, possibly things that our learners wouldn't have even considered, and they can even listen to an audio transcript. After that, there is a knowledge check to, just make sure that our learners are taking in the information that they have. And we've included a podcast so that our learners are engaged, and it provides a scenario that could occur at a child care center. So just coming back to the enabling objective here for Module 2, Indoor Environmental Safety Hazards, we want our learners to be able to outline steps required to mitigate dangerous situations. And so that's why in the RISE 360, there is a scenario-based training that is there. And then we also have another scenario-based training here, but it is collaborative. And so they can work with their peers here and add posts to this Padlet. This module also has a safety assignment where they would create a chart listing 6 potential hazards and then the steps that they would take to remove the hazard. Before I move on to Module 3, I did want to show you the RISE 360 scenario-based training that we have here with a lot of feedback and a lot of opportunities to think about what steps need to be taken to mitigate this issue. So moving on to Module 3, which is one of the most important modules, is behavior management. And these are the 3 enabling objectives for that module. We want them to be able to explore age-appropriate consequences, positive and negative reinforcements, and behavior management techniques. Then we want them to be able to compile a list of appropriate and effective phrasing to use with children. And then the final is creating a behavior management plan that they can use at their center. The actual course content, we start off with a video and then a quick knowledge check. We have an infographic for them to look at. We have some readings and resources. And then after that, they have a discussion board so that they can come up with ideas on how to create an effective behavior management plan. And then a rubric. And then moving on, we have another discussion through Flipgrid, and then finally the assignment rubric and the assignment itself where they have to create a behavior management plan. So I wanted to make sure that the behavior management plan that they create in this course was being utilized, so I did create a self-evaluation that they would have to complete after creating that behavior management plan. This module is anticipating behaviors, and so we want students to explore different kinds of behaviors that they might encounter, and then also create a chart where they decide behaviors I want to see and behaviors I want to see less of. Provided an opportunity for working with peers to come up with solutions for behaviors that they might see at their own sites. So I created this course using Understanding by Design. As the course naturally gave itself to that, we started off with what I wanted the rec leaders to have, and then worked backwards to design the parts of the courses. I did use parts of Dick and Carey modules to develop the course. I identified the need for the course and then the objectives. From there, I looked at the predispositions of my learners and then started to think about, okay, well, how am I going to make sure that these students are engaged and that they can learn the information? And then finally, I developed the actual content afterwards. I developed some formative and summative evaluations to make sure that the objectives were being met. Just a blend of learning theories. I think that a lot of my activities are constructivist and connectivist because it's important for the learners to be able to communicate with their peers and come up with solutions together, and constructivist because otherwise they're not going to be able to apply what they've learned to their care centers. After I evaluated my course, I definitely think the content of my course is there and the activities are engaging and useful. I do think that my course needs more work on the accessibility portion and possibly on the design and layout portion. Of course, I definitely need to look more into the Talent LMS gradebook and possibly move things around in there. Overall, I'm pretty proud of this course, and I think I could use it at my current role for the people who work there. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.